So today we'll start with steam turbines. So earlier we have seen compressors, we have seen hydraulic pumps specifically, and we have seen turbines. But so in the starting of the course also there was a topic on turbine, but that turbines were using hydraulic or water as the working fluid. And over here the turbines which we are going to see, they are the steam turbines. That means they are going to use steam as the working fluid. That is the vaporized water or evaporated water or superheated specifically because the pressures and temperature combinations will be such that they are superheated. So where are these useful? Steam turbines are useful in power plants and such that, like we have seen Brayton cycle in applied thermodynamics, that is the gas power cycles or steam power cycle. So wherever steam is the working fluid and we want to expand the steam, so the steam has high pressure, high temperature, and when we are going to expand the steam in some device, that device is going to generate, it's going to rotate, and that rotation is going to generate an mechanical output. The mechanical output can be converted to a electrical output later. But the turbines purpose is to convert the the chemical energy or any kind of energy, thermal energy, to mechanical energy. So what are we doing? We are converting enthalpy and kinetic energy of steam. Enthalpy means high temperature and kinetic energy means high speed, the dynamic head which we have seen, of steam into work. Work means mechanical output as of now. So there can be two types of turbines. First, or any fluid machines can be differentiated into two types: impulse type and reaction type. So they are differentiated in terms of degree of reaction definition, which is defined as a change in static pressure in the rotor divided by change in static pressure in the stage. The stage is a combination of start to the end of the turbine. So there can be multiple stages, there can be multiple equipment such as diffuser, volute casing, rotor, stator, etc. So all this combined, which will come into the denominator, and in the numerator there is only one term, that is static change in pressure or static change in enthalpy, isoentropic change in enthalpy in the rotor, only in the rotor stage. So let's see in detail about the impulse type. So impulse type means there is no change in static pressure in the rotor, while in reaction type there is a static pressure change in both stator and rotor. Specifically in rotor it must occur. In stator it will obviously be there because that's the purpose of the stator. So in the impulse type they are called as blades as buckets, which we were saying in Pelton wheel turbine. And energy transfer is only by impact. That means there is an impulse provided on the blades or buckets or whatever we want to say. There is only the impulse force, and that force is going to give the torque. So there is no conversion of pressure. There is no change of pressure. The pressure remains same everywhere. That's the meaning. There is no static pressure change in the rotor. So we have change in impulse. The impulse is imparted. The impulse means kinetic energy or energy is provided in terms of velocity. And the other difference is condensing type and non-condensing type. This will mean that we need to use a condenser, or it is going to condense the steam in the turbine itself. But if the steam is going to condense in the turbine itself, the rotor blades must be such that it's okay for them to handle liquid. Otherwise, they can have devastating results. So in condensing type, we need to use the condenser. It's a closed cycle, and condenser pressure is going to be lesser than atmospheric pressure. And this will allow large expansion of the fluid, working fluid, which is steam. And the expansion, that means the pressure is reducing. The reduction in pressure leads to reduction in temperature. That means we are getting the steam cooled and we can reuse that steam. That means it's a closed cycle. In non-condensing type, use of process heater is equipment such as process heaters are used, and water is directly sent to reservoir. So whatever steam we are getting from the turbine, it okay. So turbines will never have the outlet of water. The turbines will always give, the steam turbines will always give steam as the outlet. It will not condense in the turbine because the turbine blades are not developed or designed such that they can handle liquid. So they must give steam as the outlet. If we are using a condenser, that means it's a closed cycle and it's a condensing type. And if we are not using condenser, that means whatever steam we are getting directly using a process heater that will take away the heat from the steam, whatever heat we can recover back. And whatever steam or whatever liquid we are directly exposing that liquid to the reservoir. We are not reusing the same liquid. We are allowing that liquid to mix to the reservoir, and then from the reservoir we'll again take back the new liquid which is cooled. So this is called an open cycle. Let's see impulse steam turbine in more details. So entire change in enthalpy happens in the nozzle itself. So nozzle is one where we are converting high head or high pressure head into high velocity. And that velocity is going to impart on the blades of the turbine, and that velocity is going to be useful to us in the rotation of turbine. So there is no pressure change in the rotor. That means there is P atmospheric always inside the rotor. And we have high rotational speed because of this, because pressure is not changing. So entire enthalpy which is imparted is going to convert to the velocity. So around 30,000 rpm speeds are achieved in this, and this may lead to very high centrifugal forces, bending stresses, etc. So we have supersonic velocities around 110 meters per second. These are just the numbers for you to understand what kind of velocities or speeds are involved in steam turbine or impulse steam turbine specifically. This is because of large or all pressure is dropping in the stator itself. So what does I mean over here? So we had a stator is the nozzle over here. So entire enthalpy is dropping or that getting converted to velocity in the nozzle, and there is no change in enthalpy in the rotor. So since all the enthalpy is getting converted to velocity in the nozzle, we are having a very large velocity at the end of nozzle. And from the outlet of nozzle, it is going to get into the rotor. So that high velocity from the nozzle is going to get imparted on the rotor blades. So that's why we are having such a large speed of rotor, large velocities and large speeds of rotation for rotor. And all kinetic energy is gained at the end of stator itself. So in the next video, we'll start with more detailed velocity triangles to understand this in more detail.